So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for being here. Welcome to our Tuesday morning 9:30 a.m. sales meeting brought to you on Zoom today. Love to do these on Zoom every once in a while so that more people can join. Our dual career agents can join. People who are a little bit further can join. So we're happy to all have you here today. So as we normally do, we're going to get started with our system of beliefs. I have asked Wesley Croft to come off mute this morning and share with us how our system of beliefs have manifested in his business today, recently. So Wesley, thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think for me, the biggest thing that showed up in my business this week has been uh, communication. So we've got a couple of deals going right now where um, just needed a little bit of patience on both sides of the deal. Uh, but that doesn't come without being able to have a good rapport with the other agent. So one just happens to be an agent in our office, but the other one is an agent that I don't really know. But taking time to communicate, to get to know her, to get to know what's going on with her seller, it has helped us to get, hopefully, fingers crossed, a deal across the finish line. So communication, I think, has been huge for me this week.
I love it. Thanks, Wes. I appreciate it. Communication, seek first to understand. Definitely takes some patience involved in that situation. So think we all probably know that too well. So thanks for coming off mute today, Wesley. I appreciate you as always. I'm going to flip it over to Kate Johnson, who's going to talk about her next career night coming up.
Hi guys, good morning. Yeah, our next virtual career night is next Wednesday on the 25th. This is perfect for anyone in your life that might be interested in getting into real estate, or someone that wants to learn how to take advantage of Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan as their broker of choice. So let us know if you'd like to join us or if there's anyone we should be expecting on the guest list.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. Next up, today in Lakewood, if you need your headshot refreshed, it's just $50, which is a fraction of what it would normally be to go get your headshot taken by a professional. Not that the person that's coming today, Omar, is definitely professional. So I'll be refreshing my headshot today around 2 o'clock. We still have some slots available for you. So please reach out to Carrie Mitchell. That's Carrie Mitchell at kw.com if you would like to book a slot today. So still have some headshots available. Come get your headshot. Come see me. I'll be in the office today. And thank you for providing this for us. We appreciate it. Next up, we want to talk about some upcoming trainings. I'm going to flip it over to Kate to talk about our upcoming trainings we have coming up.
Awesome. Yeah, loaded back end of the month with a lot of good content. So make sure you join us on Wednesday for the CCM Fireside Chat. Always love to hear from our friends across country. And then I'm super, super excited about this one on Friday. It's the open house playbook with Chris Case. Not sure if you're on this morning, Chris, but this is specifically added to the calendar during this month because Chris holds an open house so well, from start to finish, from marketing to during to post open house follow-up. We felt like this would be a perfect summer workshop and playbook for you guys to start using her playbook immediately. So definitely join us on Friday. It's one of my favorites. Also a hard yes on the Women of KWGM event this month. I've never personally been on the Funny Bus comedy tour, but I'm so, so excited. Not sure if anyone from Women of KWGM is on to chat about this. But if they aren't, I'm happy to.
I am. I'm
Yeah,
here.
Lane, I see you.
Yay. Yay. So
Perfect.
ladies, love for you to join us 1 week from today on the Funny Bus. We are gonna laugh our asses off. It's BYOB, Collision Bend, next Tuesday. Be there, be square, scan the QR code, pay $31. It's only the first event we've ever asked you for some dollars. But I definitely guarantee it is gonna be funny.
I appreciate the laughing more than you know. Please also note that all of the links for these are in the chat. Thank you, Carrie. All right. I would try to talk about the summer Popeyes, but I would absolutely not do it justice. So, Lindsay from our culture committee is gonna kind of unmute and tell us why everyone should be coming to our Popeye making class next Friday.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so next Friday we are going to be having our summer Popeye making event. I know we've done some Facebook advertisements on this and sent a couple emails out, but this is an awesome event to just be able to connect with your clients this summer, just kind of stay top of mind. We are having it on both sides of town, so both offices. So we are providing lunch. We're providing all of the Popeye materials for you. So all you have to do is go and click the QR code. We've also, had the link out there on Facebook. We'll be posting it and sending another email out this week as well. You can choose, how many you want to do, 5, 10, 15, 20. Just a great way to, connect with new clients, past clients. It's just a fun little event to be able to, connect with, your fellow agents as well. Some of the things that will be included, I know Jess, did a post recently about it, but we've got like fun koozies, stuff for the kiddos like sparklers, glow sticks, all that fun stuff. So it's just a great little kind of fun 4th of July theme, little bag that you'll be able to drop off to your clients. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions at all. Reach out to myself or to Jess. We are doing last call is Friday. So make sure if you're interested in doing this to go ahead and sign up as soon as possible.
Yeah, I love that, Lindsay. I think the thing I'm most excited about is they'll be talking about specific strategies on how to drop these off to clients. If you've never done a pop by before, they're definitely going to be talking and strategizing on ways for you to do this multiple times throughout the year or just once with them. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's options for how many you actually purchase. So if you can
Correct.
only think of 5 people that you'd want to give a pop by to, that's an option when you're signing up. And it goes all the way up to 20, I believe, or really just
Yep.
you tell us however many you want if it's not on there and we can figure that out for you. But Carrie just popped in the chat a super cute little inspo for the pop by gifts that you can expect. So yeah, it's gonna be a really fun one. So hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Yep.
All right, cool. Next Wednesday, it's Ask the ALC. This is a really cool way to kind of just mastermind in a less formal format, if you will. So if you want to scan some of your questions into the ALC, we have some of our favorites joining us next week. We have 4 really powerhouse agents that will be there to help mastermind and go through all of the kind of things that we're seeing in the summer.
All right, I'm delighted to talk about this one today. Thank you, Kate, for all the upcoming trainings and events we have going on. I feel like the men of KWGM really need to step up our game because I always find myself wanting and so jealous of all the women of KWGM events. I mean, a funny bus, that sounds pretty awesome. So, but yeah, we have the event of the season coming up, being hosted by Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan in cooperation with a couple other Keller Williams brokerages in the area. This is our big dog we got for the summer masterminds. So we would love to see you there. Scan this QR code if you'd like to get registered. There's 2 different ways to register. There's the event registration, and then if you'd like to be a part of an additional keynote and VIP lunch, it's a little bit more of a cost, but you do get your lunch provided along with an additional keynote speech. But a couple of highlights I want to make. Julia Lachey Israel is going to be one of our keynote speakers that day. You will not want to miss this. Julia Lachey is an internationally recognized speaker, TEDx presenter, and thought leader with more than 23 years of experience coaching leaders around the globe. And the head of inclusion and belonging at Keller Williams Realty International. She's helped shape the DEI efforts for over 800 franchises across 58 countries. Julia brings energy, depth, and actionable insight to every stage she steps on. helping organizations grow by embracing diversity, perspectives, and creating cultures of true belonging. So super excited about Julia Lachey. Also joining us that day will be Alex Sheen taking the stage. He's the founder of Because I Said I Would, a nonprofit and a global movement dedicated to the power of keeping promises. After losing his father, Alex began sending out free promise cards. Over 12 million of them have been handed out over 153 countries. His inspiring commitment has led him to walk across Ohio, speaking at 5 TEDx events and appear on national platforms like ABC World News, CNN, and The Today Show. Alex's work reminds us of the incredible impact that comes from doing exactly what we say we'll do. So I'm super pumped and excited about this. All right, next up, we're going to do some partner updates. We're going to start with Ohio Real Title. I think I saw Jennifer O'Malley popped into the chat a little bit ago. Jennifer and or whoever else would like to come off mute and share a little bit about what's going on at Ohio Real Title. Oh my gosh, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Handsome himself, Rick Capretta just activated his video. So, and then Janelle's on as well. We got the whole gang here today.
Jen or Janelle, you got anything?
Well, I was going to say it's half year, second half of 2024 taxes will be coming out soon. So it's a nice touch point if you have cash buyers to, just remind them to pay their second half of last year. And also for your, I don't know, it's just a good touch point. So usually counties, the billing cycle is usually the first 2 weeks of July. So just a heads up, especially if you're preparing like net sheets or giving estimates to anybody, run it through us and we can make it a little bit more accurate for you. That's all I got.
I got a quick one too. Right now, I feel like there's just a ton of deals with craziness in them. People going through active divorces or divorces just finished, but the decree is not public yet. Maybe a funky lien. Reach out to us, your partners, and let us try to do as much front work as possible so that we don't get into a deal where we can't close it or it's going to cause significant delays. So make sure you're really understanding your sellers and find out if they've got anything going on that you could get from them so that we can help you guys out.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. You heard it here first. Some fun topics from Ohio Real Title. Janelle, I never thought I would enjoy hearing about taxes, but you just make it sound so lovely. So thank you for always being a ray of sunshine.
Aww. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
We appreciate you. I know I've got Mr. Handsome himself, Don Jarecki, on from Cross Country Mortgage. Don, what do you have for us this morning, sir?
Actually, Sean will start us off.
Sorry, Sean, I didn't see you in the chat. My bad.
No, that's all right.
Sean
Well,
Hadley, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't steal the boss's thunder.
no, we'll kick it over to Mr. Handsome in a second here. So 3 quick items on my side. So the fireside tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we're going to touch on investor. And don't just think of investors as someone running out to buy the, duplex or quad. Even someone buying a house as a primary residence, while we look at them as a primary residence, they're still kind of an investment. So we'll be touching on that and, of course, the DSCR loans. I'm going to put in the chat 2 flyers. Cross Country Mortgage is the new sponsor for the Cleveland Take a Hike tours. So this is less a commercial, this very moment for Cross Country Mortgage and more for Cleveland. If you haven't been on one of these tours, they're pretty cool. They're free, 45 minutes in some cases. Some are a little longer. You're walking around downtown or Little Italy, all the different neighborhoods, and it's really, really cool. And I went with my kids years back. We had a visit from Moses Cleveland. Not the real Moses Cleveland, but a guy dressed up. And it's an awkward experience. So it's still pretty cool. So I absolutely encourage you guys to take care of these. And again, I'll put this in the chat box in a second. And then jumbo loans. So we had 2 as smooth as can be jumbo loan closing. So a jumbo loan is a loan amount over 806. Had 2 customers buying at around 1.6 million. One put 10% down, one put 15% down. Neither had PMI, and both of them got the same interest rate as if they were buying a $300,000 house. Extremely smooth. So, we do a lot of jumbo loans. We don't talk about it as much just because it's a smaller kind of section of our market, but we're doing a ton of those. Mr. Handsome, over to you.
John always gives me the fun stuff to talk about interest rates. I'm like the gloom and doom guy, but I'll use Sean's reference here. We're still in a Cheech and Chong pattern, higher for longer, for those of you who remember who Cheech and Chong are. But the Fed does meet this week. There's should be no action on the Fed. They're not looking to cut until September. There's about a 60% chance of that. And even if we do get a cut, I don't think anything good's going to come out of it. What is good about it is you'll see car loan interest rates drop, you'll see business interest rates drop, and you'll see the home equity line of credit interest rates drop accordingly. But the mortgages are tied more to the 10-year bond, which has been trading anywhere from the upper 4.3s to 4.4s. We've even touched 4.5 for a couple of weeks. As long as we stand at that 4.5 range, you should see rates still continue to hold 6.75 to 7.25. Once you start getting above 4.5, you're really going to see the market going the other way. But pay attention to that. Again, I don't think anything is going to come out of the Fed this week. Look more towards September, October.
I just want to re-up the KWYP longest day on Friday. We are sponsors. We'll be there. ORT, I'm pretty sure you guys will be there. It is noon to 3 at Top Golf Cleveland on Friday the 20th. I'm sure I'll see plenty of you there. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, my Facebook, I think Janelle's Facebook, check it out.
All right, thank you, Cross Country Mortgage. I appreciate it. I will second that on the Cleveland walking tours. This will be the 4th year in a row I've been on one of the walking tours. That might be a cool partnership between our culture community and maybe going on one of those walking tours together. But I would be all about that because those walking tours are just so cool. One of my really, really good friends is one of the stops along the way. And I think she's going to come back and do it this year. Oh, I clicked off of it. Sorry. Next up, we have the Leverage Center. We have Tori Fontozzi, our Director of Marketing, and Elizabeth Kuzminski, our Transaction Coordinator. They've got some stuff for it this morning. So, Tori, we'll go with you first. Why don't you pop off mute? What do you have for us?
Hello, good morning, everyone. So if you haven't heard already, KW does have a partnership with Canva, which I am super, super excited about. That will be launching in Q3. So as a leadership team, we'll be in touch about actual dates and how everything's going to work and everything. So if you don't use Canva already, this is going to be a little different because it's going to have full MLS integration, which I'm really excited to see how that pans out. But if you don't use Canva yet and you do your own marketing, I'd recommend maybe checking it out, just searching through and just kind of familiarizing yourself with it. It's a great tool. It's going to be completely free through our brokerage. And if you don't do your marketing and you don't want to anymore, you can go ahead and give me a call as well.
Thank you, Tori. Appreciate it. Liz?
One thing I just wanted to bring up that I've run into a few times with some different agents in regards to the new listing agreement. So we're all using the split commission agreement now. And so in there, when you enter the percentage, that is actually the amount that will go to you as a listing agent. It is no longer the total amount that is going to be split between both brokerages. So I've just had a couple of agents put in the total amount that they expect there, like a 6%, and then not realizing that that's essentially saying that they are getting 6%, not that the seller's paying 6% total. So just something for everyone to be aware of. If you have other questions, obviously Andrew can explain. However, I'm more than willing to answer any questions as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Appreciate you both so much. Super excited about the enterprise partnership with Canva too. That's going to be pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. So, all right, I'd like to invite David Goldberg to come off mute. Believe he's joined us today. David, what do you have for us this morning, sir?
Good morning. Just wanted to share this because this is the kind of horror stories that nobody ever likes to see. I'm going to put that in the chat. Got a call from the borrower 2.5 weeks ago. They thought they were pre-approved by a lender for jumbo loan. They were in contract. I don't know how the listing agent accepted this, but they did. If you look at the letter, it says income self-reported, assets self-reported. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work in the real world. And the self-reported income they put was a whole lot less, or a whole lot more than what was actually on the tax return for a self-employed borrower. They did not qualify for the mortgage. Fortunately, we were able to flip it to a bank statement loan, got them into the house, and we're closing actually Friday on schedule. But I mean, they were in, literally in tears when they called me at first. So just pay attention. I know we're all busy. We're trying to get deals to work. Read the pre-approval letter. Give the lender a call. Make sure you're asking the right questions to see that they're really qualified, because there's a lot of people out there. I mean, I probably get one a week that thinks they're pre-approved and they're not even close. So just pay attention.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. David Goldberg saving the day like normal. If you follow David on on LinkedIn, he's got all kinds of stories like this. So thank you, David, for all the different ways.
Tuesday.
What's that?
Just a normal Tuesday.
Just another Tuesday. I love it. Thanks, David. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for. We are delighted and excited to be joined by the one and only Eric Uchbar today, who is going to be covering a topic he's super passionate about. Eric, if you want to pop off mute, thank you for being willing to share some of your knowledge with us today. We greatly appreciate it. I'll turn it over to you.
Happy to be here. Well, yeah, we are going to be talking a little bit more about something we typically don't talk about, I feel like, is like, how do we get buyers and sellers to make a move over the summer? Yet I think it's important to find the holes in our business, if you will, and find those buyers and sellers that are saying, hey, we're not ready yet, or we've got other challenges, or whatever we might be doing. Typically, as agents, we won't focus on those conversations, and we'll jump right over to the buyers who are going, yeah, we'll buy, we'll sell, we'll do whatever we have to. It is definitely a different market than we've experienced 5 years ago, and a much different market than what we experienced 10 and 15 years ago. So as the market shifts, we got to change what we do as well. So when I was approached about this topic specifically, about how to convert these buyers, one of the things I was really considering was, it reminds me of Zig Ziglar, a saying that he used to have, or a story he would say, and I'll summarize it pretty quickly. Yet he would talk about how, the person that would never get things done, and he would go, the person who you talk to them in the summer and they go, we're just going to wait. We're so busy. The kids are home. We need to wait till they get back into school. All right. Kids get back into school and they go, geez, the kids are in school. It's so busy. We have all these new activities. Give us a couple of weeks or a month. All of a sudden we're into the holidays. The holidays come, well, we can't do anything during the holidays. Then all of a sudden we're going to wait till the weather breaks. The weather breaks, and then all of a sudden it's springtime. Well, we got to get spring cleaning done. Before you know it, we're in summer, and all over again. We went through a whole year. Nothing happened. This is really going toward those individuals of what we're trying to do is say, hold on, if now is not the time, when is? So if you listen closely, we'll be talking about not only some scripts, I also have a series of questions. As we know, the person that's asking the question controls the conversation. So I do have scripts, I do have questions as well that's behind it. So feel welcome to, I have the chat open. If anyone has a specific client they're dealing with right now, that's giving them any challenges of just going, hey, we're almost ready, we're getting ready, let's think about what we can do to actually kick them over into the active client category. We can chat about that, or we can help overcome what that looks like. So yeah, that's what today is about. Let's go ahead and get started. So first script that we typically are going to be having if we are having this challenge with clients is really talking mainly about, I don't know, I don't see any slides up, and that's okay if we don't have them. I'm happy to just chat through it. I just sent them over to Carrie just before the meeting, so I don't know if she had a chance, and that's my fault for getting them in so late. Yet we can talk about what this looks like. So this is designed for the client that is really mainly just going, hey, I just got into the summer months. What are we doing? Are we actually going to be able to convert this client during the summer, or like, do I have time to actually buy or sell? What this is really designed for is getting through that. So essentially the script I have, and Carrie, I appreciate that. I'll also just type it in the chat. So Carrie will send that out as well, but I'm going to type it into the chat. So I know it feels like summer just started, which we do have a lot of clients telling us this. Yet in real estate, the clock moves pretty fast. A couple of weeks for repairs, another week for a week or two for prep, maybe even a vacation in between, and suddenly it's late August. School is starting and a buyer activity slows down. What would be a good time for us to meet and put together a plan and a timeline that makes sure that you don't miss that window? I do like that we are talking about this specifically. Yet scripts are good. If you remember, I did scripts maybe a couple months ago, and really what we are trying to do is come up with a great series of questions to lead a client where we want them to. So we want to create urgency around this. We want to align with their goals, and we want to offer clarity through a noisy market. So what this really comes down to is we do want a script, but we also want questions that back up these scripts that we can actually use these with, right? We can't just walk cold into a client and state that. So I have 5 questions here outlined for everyone. You'll want to write these down. So the first question I have outlined, these are very detailed, open-ended questions. Remember, open-ended versus close-ended. An open-ended question makes them have any response that you can imagine. It's not just a yes or a no. Close-ended means a yes or a no. It doesn't open up the window for more questions. So the first question that I have is, when do you ideally want to be fully moved and settled into your next place? Often they're thinking about these good markets and bad markets and all of these questions, which we'll dive a little bit deeper in. If you haven't heard that from your clients, I'm hearing it all the time right now. Of somebody just recently said, it's really not a great time to sell. And then all of a sudden, on the other note, they said it's really not a good time to buy. And I'm going, well, which one is it? It's one or the other, or it's both. It can't be, just a terrible time in general. So I'll repeat it again. When do you ideally want to be fully moved out and settled into your next place? Item number 2, do you have any travel or family plans this summer that might affect your timeline? One of the things that I still have with my coaching clients, I'll talk with them and I'll say, hey, what are your goals for this week? Hey, I'm going to do so many calls. I might be making 45 calls between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Great, let's look at your calendar. And all of a sudden they realize they have 2 doctor's appointments, or they have a graduation, or whatever it might be. Unless we are actually checking our schedule, we are not actually, what's the old bold statement, right? If it's not in our schedule, it doesn't exist. And it's very true when we actually discuss it in that way. So make them actually pull out their schedule or think about, do I have any timelines that I have to meet? By the time August comes around and I have a vacation early August, I'm not going to want to put my house on. So when do we have to be planning that around the client? Question number 3, have you thought about how long it might take to make small repairs or even get a house show ready? How many times have we had a client say, yep, I'll be ready next week, or give me a little bit more time, or let me think about it. And then that time comes and goes. And before we know it, it was one of my favorite things with a for sale by owner saying, last time we spoke, you were going to do blank. It's now 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months later. Are you ready to let me take charge of this? Remember, whenever we see a problem, we see an opportunity. So if we do see it, some type of challenge that they're struggling with, offer them a suggestion. One of the most valuable things we do as realtors are problem solve. Find who we can help get them to make these small repairs. Question 4, would it be stressful if you were still showing a home once school starts or fall schedules kick in? This is really designed to create some urgency. People don't think about it until it's too late. And again, it's going to be July before we know it, in a couple of weeks. Once July hits, if we're putting our house on the market, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to sell. We really have to think about, is that enough time for me to make the move into the next home? Real quick shout out to Ohio Real Title and Cross Country Mortgage. They were able to, with pre-planned schedule from these conversations, they were able to actually close a deal for us in 2 weeks. That was with Cross Country's, help me out here, Chris, Sean, or Don, fast track loan. We got the buyer fully underwritten and pre-approved, and all of a sudden they found the house 2 weeks later, and we had a holiday in there. Somehow they pulled off a miracle. So really neat. Question number 4 is somebody just asked that in the chat. Would it be stressful if you were still showing the home once school starts or fall schedules kicked in? That exact client that I was just referring to, we listed their house for sale, and first week it didn't sell. They were certain it was going to sell, 100% certain. Guess what? It didn't sell their first week. 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, we did a price adjustment. All of a sudden we ended up getting it sold. But the point being is they never even thought that, hey, it might take a couple of weeks to get my house sold. Thank you, Carrie. If we work backwards from your move out goal, how soon would you think we would need to be live on the market? Reality kicks in when we start putting in schedules. I love to talk about their schedules because that's when they start going, geez, how fast do we have to move? If I'm doing this right, typically by the time we're done with the conversation, they're going, I need to stop what I'm doing, whatever I am right now, and start working on either the house or getting the house ready for photos or start looking at homes. That exact example that I keep going back to, the client said, we don't even want to look at a house, Eric, until our house is on the market. And that was about a month and a half out. And I said, absolutely not. And where we're at right now, we have to start looking for homes because the price point they were in was very competitive. And I said, we have to find that house. And we luckily pulled it off very well because we had this exact conversation up front. So again, I'll repeat that last one again. If we work backwards from your move out goal, how soon do you think we would need to be live on the market? Really helpful. Most loans take 30, 45 days, depending on how we're doing it. And we just want to consider what that looks like for them. We have to think about how long it might take them to have the house on the market to get it sold, how long it takes them to get it ready, how long do they want for a moving, for an ideal moving time frame. The amount of buyers that don't realize that you cannot close on a house and close on your new house on the same day. You need a little bit of a buffer there, or at least an occupancy overlap to make that work. All right. That is, again, script number 1. So the buyer, that's really just, you're helping them put their timeline together. They're not realistic about their timelines or even are aware of what a timeline is. So many clients have no clue that it takes typically 30 days to close a property. Before we move on, any comments, questions, or conversations that anyone has around that? Very good. Next item, number 2. So this is really reverse engineering their move up or move down. And again, this dives deeper into where we have somebody that's either buying and selling at the same time. Yet, I know you mentioned, I'm going to start the script and I'll type it in the chat as well. I know you mentioned wanting to be in your new home by August. To make sure that'll happen, we need to work backwards. It typically takes 30 days from contract to close and at least a couple of weeks to find the right home. Let's put, that puts us needing to be under contract by mid to late July. And if you're planning to currently list your home and after going under contract on the new one, we'll want to be prepped and ready for it to hit the market. That timeline gives us at least, gives us less than 30 days to make sure that we make some big decisions. What would be the best time for us to meet to build a plan that aligns with your goals and makes the process as smooth as possible? I really dove into on like number 5 there a little bit deeper than I wanted to of question, the first question, the 5th one that we had there. I'm sorry, the first objection, 5th question that I answered for it. We went through a lot of these already, so I will go into the questions that I have specifically for this objection. So first one is, you mentioned wanting to be in your next home by August. What is the ideal move-in date look like for you? Again, you mentioned wanting to be in your next home by August, whatever date that might be. What does an ideal move-in date look like for you? Question 2, are you planning to buy before you sell, or would it make more sense to list first? I don't know the answer to that question. Every client is different, yet these are really part of a needs analysis that we do when we list properties. Again, are you planning to buy before you sell, or would it make more sense to sell first? Question 3, how long do you think it might take to find the right home in today's market? How long do you think it might take to find the right home in today's market? Question 4, would it help to be if we mapped out a full timeline together, starting from your goal and working backwards? I've actually done this physically on a piece of paper. I actually take their exact moving date and then I buffer it all the way back, and real quickly they'll see they need to get their house listed probably before they are considering it. When they think August, they're like, oh, we can start looking at the end of July. It's going to be too late. Lastly, if we want to be under contract mid to late July, what feels like a realistic date to be on the market? Again, these are all just open-ended questions to get them thinking. I'm going to type all 5 of these in the chat for everyone as well, and then Carrie will be emailing you as well. Very good. We've got a little bit of time left for this third one. So the third script is really focusing on what we can control. Again, I had recently a buyer tell me, Eric, they're a buyer / seller. I'm really thinking about buying this year. He went on and on about if it's a good time or a bad time to sell. And this really kind of focuses on, it's not about just a good time or a bad time to sell and the monetary values of that. When we really boil down into what he's looking for, he's going, I've got 1,000 square foot house with 4 kids, and he had 2 dogs, one of which was a Great Dane. If you're not familiar with a Great Dane, they are massive dogs. And we're going, this isn't about a good time or a bad time to sell. This is really looking at, how do you want your life to be set up? Where do you want to be living? Can you afford it? What makes most sense? So this is what the script is focusing on. And again, I'll type it in the chat here for us. I know today's market feels uncertain with rates, inventory, and headlines constantly shifting. The truth is, the most successful moves happen when a buyer focuses on what they can control, their timeline, their must-haves, being ready when the right opportunity shows up. I would underline that. Being ready when the right opportunity shows up. You don't have to buy today, yet if we get clear now on what matters most to you, you'll be in a strong position to act when the right home hits the market, rather than scrambling or missing out. By the way, you should put on here, talk to a lender about getting pre-approved now. So many sellers go, I don't want to talk about that yet. Let me get the house on the market. No, we need to figure out what you are going to be able to afford. When that time comes, that house might hit the market today. Moving on with the script, it certainly wouldn't hurt to have a quick strategy session so we can put together a game plan that gives you options without pressure. Is Tuesday or Thursday better for you? Notice all of these scripts end with some type of question to get them to actually get me in their schedule. I don't want to start debating on the what the topic of this conversation is. I really want to start getting into their schedule. It is so important. People shift their mind completely as soon as you say, are you available Tuesday or Thursday, instead of talking about if the market's good or bad or what interest rates are doing or whatever it may be. Lastly, questions to ask around this that help them think about this. So again, we want to be asking these questions up front so we can close with these scripts. Number 1, what parts of the move feel most overwhelming to you right now? How many of our buyers or sellers are saying they are overwhelmed? The moment we sit down with them, it seems like an easy thing to buy a house. As we know, it can get very, very challenging. So what parts of the move feel most overwhelming to you right now? Question 2, what's motivating this move most? Lifestyle, location, school, or family? Could be a combination of those or more. One thing that sometimes you don't even have to say is even giving them an idea. If they struggle with it, I even like just saying, what's motivating this move the most? And then silence is very powerful there. Question 3, if we waited for the perfect market, what might that cost you in the long run? What I'm conveying in this question is, so often a renter will go, it's not a great time to buy. It's not a great time to buy. By the way, since about 2015, the market's been continually going up, where buyers have been telling us the market is going up. I could buy a house 5 years ago for half of the price that they're on the market today. That's going from 2015, by the way. You went from 2015 to 2010, it felt horrible buying a house in 2015 because prices were so high. Go from 2015 to 2020, 2020 to 2025. The reality is they're not paying attention to how much money they've wasted in rent. If you're paying $1,000 a month, that's going to be $60,000 in rent that you have lost in 5 years. And that's only $1,000 a month. Good luck finding anything to rent for $1,000 a month anymore. Most houses are doubling that, tripling. I just heard somebody today that is moving into the area. Their rent, they said, I can't afford rent. It's going to be for the house that I'm looking for that I can afford to buy. I would like to just start in the area for rent because I don't know where I want to move yet. And they're going, I can't afford it. It's going to be $3,000 a month for a middle income person moving into the area. Pretty shocking that that's what they're going to be having to spend on rent if they move in. Question 4. What would make you feel confident about moving forward, even with the current headlines? What would make you feel confident about moving forward, even with the current headlines? Really important for them to kind of get outside of the news, get outside of what's happening and go, hold on, what's the reality of what I'm doing? If I'm spending $2,500 in rent right now, and I'm going to be here for the next 1 to 2 to 3 years. I just had somebody say that they're worried about losing their job. This is what a coaching client, because they could be going through some restructuring at their organization. And I said, well, how long has this person been employed? And they said, well, ever since they were 18 years old, they were employed. And I said, has their income gone up or gone down every time they've changed jobs? It's gone up. And I said, well, are they certain they're going to be losing their job? No, they're not. And I'm going, what's the difference if they either lost their rent or ended up losing their house? I said, chances are this person's not going to be losing either one of them. They will find another job. I would be analyzing that much deeper than that with that client. I would be seeing how much money they have in reserves. And really the reality is they probably need 3 to 6 months in reserves in case the worst case scenario happened to find their new job. The same amount of stress is going to be on that person. They either have to pay rent or they have to pay their mortgage. Yet we have to be looking at, if they don't end up buying, what's that going to cost them 3, 5, 10 years down the road, and how long could that possibly take? But again, analyze down to the deepest core of what they're actually trying to do. Figure that out first. I want to be very clear. I am not at all saying if anybody is thinking that they might be losing their job, just go buy a house. We need to analyze what they're actually doing, figure out the reality of the situation. This person was employed for over 10 years at their current job. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was very long term. They're a person that's going to find another job somewhere if that happened, if restructuring happened. Item number 5. Would it bring peace of mind if we focused on creating the right plan now? No pressure to act until the timing feels right. I love this one. It really talks about bringing them out of that chaos. And typically, the way Bull would always talk about this, the way we get out of chaos is we create systems. It's essentially a plan, right? We're saying, hey, let's look at what this actually looks like. And I'm never pushing my clients to say, buy in the summer, buy in the summer, buy in the summer. What I am saying is, let's look at what your life looks like and figure out what's going to create the least amount of stress and give you the most amount of opportunity over the next 2 months, 6 months, a year, whatever their timeline needs, and help them digest it. We're the expert to figure out these items. So those are the 5 questions we have there. So yeah, that's all we have. I'll type those in the chat as well. Very good. Well, that's all I have. I'm open for questions if anyone has them. And I will hand it back to Bernsey.
Thanks, Eric. Definitely appreciate it. Want to open it up for questions. So if you feel like it, just pop off mute. And I know that Eric's good with that. So anybody have anything for Eric?
One thing that I always like to share when we talk about scripts in general is, Eric, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, and as team leaders, we hear this constantly, and it's that I don't want to use scripts because it sounds salesy. And so I want to kind of leave the conversation with this. The script doesn't have to be verbatim, right? It's just a conversation leader. And so anytime we hear like an objection, I think we so often think like it's an objection, it's an objection, it's an objection, where an objection really is just like an observation that you have to conversate through. And so the script doesn't have to be super salesy. The script is just meant for you to help guide a conversation. I'm not sure how you feel about that, Eric. Obviously, you built a business around this, but any kind of words of advice for limiting beliefs around using scripts in your business?
Yeah, a couple of them. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. It has to come natural, and it comes natural by practice. There's no doubt that it's 10 times more important how you're saying it versus what you are saying. You have to believe in what your questions are, what your scripts are. Yet I do remember Mike Ferry, if anybody knows who Mike Ferry is, or Tom Ferry's his son, but Mike Ferry is still a coach. I was in his coaching when I was a brand new agent, and I remember him saying, an agent said, "It doesn't feel like me." And he said in a kind way, he goes, "I'm curious, how many houses have you sold in the last year?" And they said the number, and they said, "Well, how many houses do you want to sell?" And it was like 5 times that. And he goes, "I'm sorry, do you want to sound like the way you are or the way that the top agents are selling? We need to be focusing on how to create these questions." The next item around that, and I agree that we have to internalize these, and it doesn't have to be verbatim yet. We have to hit the points that we have to. The point that I'm making on that is when we watch movies, how many times do we see actors, great actors, your Leonardo DiCaprio's, do they sound scripted? They don't. Are they scripted? 100%. It's because they've internalized them, right? So we have to really, some of the scripts aren't fun. If we're doing it right, they're difficult things to talk about. They're personal items. They're a little bit scary. So we do want to make sure that we are internalizing the scripts in any way, shape, or form. I'm completely fine with modifying it to your own statements, yet make sure you're internalizing it, watching your posture, watching your tone, listening to the pauses, listening to your ums, ahs, buts. Get rid of all of those. That's affecting your confidence level and how your client is receiving you. So yeah, really, really good point, Kate. I appreciate you bringing that up.
I love that. And I had my first bold coach that I ever had, Pat Mancuso. He said it in a less soft way. And he said, "Okay, if you don't want to feel like a salesperson, did you not want a salesperson's bank account?" And I was like, "Whoa." And the answer is we all do, right? And so what I think sometimes it takes is just getting out of our own way. And I remember for the first 2 years of being in sales, like I would record myself on my phone and then listen to it in the car on the way to the appointment. If I didn't have a person to call, like now, perfect example, when I was about to do some lead generating the other day, I called Bernsey first, and he was my first call. And I was like, I just want to run some of these questions by you so I can see how it feels saying it out loud. And that honestly is a really helpful way to internalize what you're doing. Because the script is nothing else except a question to an answer that you need to help them make a decision. It's not something to convince someone to sell their house. None of us are good enough salespeople to convince someone to do anything when it comes to buying and selling or investing in real estate. But what we can do is help them. And if you don't ask the right questions, you can't help. So I personally am a huge fan of scripts, and I'm obviously, Eric, a huge fan of how you built your business too. So I think that this was super helpful. Is there any other like ahas or questions around how we can use these scripts this summer? Any scripts that you guys wanted to hear or objections that you've heard recently that you'd like to walk through before we kind of part ways today?
If anyone's typing, we'll let them type or speak up. 2 quick other points that I would do. Thinking about what you're talking about with Kate and Bernsey. Kate, I love that you did that with Bernsey. And when you start scripting with someone, you'll realize you'll flip it on yourself too. When you all of a sudden realize your script partner is asking you the questions as a seller, you get so deep into the script, you're thinking you're moving, and all of a sudden you're understanding how the seller feels on the other side of that phone. So making sure we do have a script partner, and then we're also internalizing how the seller feels or buyer feels when those questions are being asked are really helpful.
Love that. No, I couldn't agree more. thinking about it in a way where it's like there's no objection. It's just observations and questions in your, I think, Eric, you spoke about this one time at a sales meeting in person, where I think too often we try to like walk ahead in the conversation so that we can be the leader of the conversation, when in reality, like we're supposed to be walking with them. Like we're supposed to be guiding them, and being like a calm force for them. And they're supposed to look at us as someone that they can like trust, not someone that's selling them something. So I think like positioning the conversation that way too, it does take practice. Because when you're not used to saying these scripts, it feels like you have to get it out so that you can make your point, or so they can hear you. And instead, like turning it into more conversational, it really is a game changer for how you communicate with a client like that.
Yeah.
I probably butchered that, but
No, that was perfect. Yeah, I think all too often we want to push against. Yes, I love time on task over time, practice, practice, practice. That's exactly it. And yeah, it's not if we're battling or we're feeling like we're pushing against someone, we are, and they're going to push harder against us. Like Kate said, we need to be guiding them and helping them. All of a sudden they unlock and they just go, we trust you wholeheartedly. And then it's our job to have that fiduciary responsibility to do what's in their best interest. They'll feel it, they'll see it, and they'll refer it.
It says, how about, Christina says, how about if someone calling you and saying, I'm a first-time investor buyer and I'm looking to buy, but before I'll sign the agreement, I want to see what you can find for me. How to lead this kind of investor to actually signing an agreement?
Yeah, we've all had those calls. Yeah, great question. First question that I would ask Christina is, do I want this client? I know that sounds crazy, yet I would want to internalize on the other way as well, and see what type of qualifications they have. I would have a quick buyer consultation. First-time investors can be very taxing and they can be very good. I had a first-time investor that I've sold, I don't even know, probably over 100 homes to now. And I was cautioned not to take him when I first did, because they thought he wasn't going to buy anything. So first off, I would first ask, a bunch of open-ended questions. What is your return? Why are you buying this? Is this a long-term item, short-term item? Do you have a direction of what you're trying to do, or did you watch HGTV this morning and want to buy a home? Can you qualify for it? So on and so forth. To the latter part of your question, or the exact part of your question, I should say, how do I find something for them? Again, I don't know what to find for them until they give me what they want. So are you looking to make $10,000 on a deal, $50,000 on a deal? Are you looking for a rental? Are you looking for whatever it may be? I would then start to go, why don't we go ahead and I'll set up a search for you and I will email it. I would not, if you don't know what concierge mode is on the MLS, instead of just auto emailing everyone, you actually have to verify that you've seen all of these homes and then sent it out. So they're mainly looking for rental Section 8 properties. Okay. You should be able to find plenty of rental properties. Flips are a lot more difficult on the MLS. So then my question would be, okay, what type of gross revenue are you looking? What's the rent that you're looking for? Are you looking for $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever it might be? You can go on the Section 8's website and actually find out what locations carry those numbers, and then just send them what's in that list. And I would say, here it is. I've produced 5, 10, 15. I would also ask them, how many are you looking for? Are you looking to buy 2 of these, 10 of these, 50 of these? If you want me to produce results, if I do send you over 5 or 10 of these, would that be an acceptable number to sign a buyer representation agreement? And then I would take it from there. So yeah, what are they looking for? What's the condition? I love, though, isolating the objection, because the last thing you want to do is work your tail off, send over these homes, and then they go, well, I was actually looking for more, or those aren't really the houses I'm looking for. I need to identify from them what type of condition, what type of rent, what are the taxes, what are the profits. If you don't know how to calculate profit on a rental property, it's real easy. You just take your gross revenue minus all of your expenses, taxes, insurance, principal, interest. If there is principal and interest, if they have a loan, and then now you can analyze, hey, this one makes $300 a month. But yeah, that's how I would do it. Great question.
Yeah, that was awesome, Eric. Thank you so much for walking through that live. I think like last point, and then I definitely promise I'll let you all go for your Tuesday, but I love what you just said, that last part of like identifying the objection, isolating it, and then asking them, like, if we can get past this, would you blank? So, for example, in this section, it's like, if I can provide you the amount of houses you want to see, will you sign the agreement? But oftentimes, like the objection you're hearing in a listing appointment or in a buyer's consultation or in negotiation, it's really easy to identify and isolate it if you've practiced it before. So, Bernsey, if I can get you a net of $50,000, are you comfortable with listing your house? Or Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mrs. and Mrs. Buyer, if you're comfortable with moving forward at this price point, would you do that? And so I think isolating and asking specific, direct, hard questions about the objection they're giving you is so smart. And I don't think people do it enough. I think people like to just dance around it because it doesn't feel very good. But that's what really takes those scripting conversations just from being a realtor to being like an expert in the real estate industry. So I think that was awesome. Anybody else have anything for Eric before we let you guys go? All right, y'all. Well, lots of new trainings coming up. Eric, thank you so much for your time. Always love having you back in our world on teaching our agents. So thank you so much. And if no one else has anything, talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Happy
Eric.
to be
Have
here.
a great day, guys.